So me and Antelar sat down and made this in about an hour and a half. We redid all of the tier lists and we added the global PvE and PvP tier lists. Now recently they did give buffs to 4 units on global, and there is more that we know of because of previous buffs on JP that should be there on launch, right? That from what I've seen, they should be there because of the fact that all of the buffs that we got for the global units are now also at the same time gonna be on JP tonight. They're both coming out tonight, so we have some units to change. We have to change Sally, we have to change Leopold, we have to change Veto, okay, and we have to change the season 1 units plus Red Yami. Now the thing is with Red Yami and the season 1 units is that it's with dupes. Now the thing is, it is still a free-to-play thing because of the fact that month 1 you should be getting anywhere from 6 to 8 SSR universal dupes. I'm pretty sure it's more 6 or 7, but that first month you are going to be getting a lot of SSR universal dupes, and to max out a unit it is 5. Okay, so you have all that, then you have a bunch of pulls that you're going to be able to get. So overall, getting these dupes is pretty good. Now would I recommend getting it on all of them? No, but Red Asta, Clover Academy, for instance, is very good max dupe. Just to kind of give an example, he becomes someone who's going to be useful until probably like season 3 or 4. So in like 3 to 4 months from now, he's still going to be someone who's used. So we're going to change some tiers, bring mainly people up because it's all buffs that we're going to be having. So we're going to have to redo this tier list. I re-put it in here so that we could change it because obviously I can't really change Pride Win at the moment, just how it is. So as for the buffs, we're gonna rely on this for most of the buffs. Now I do want to quickly talk about Leopold's buffs just so that we could get it out of the way. So his ult, now it doesn't do any more damage, but if I'm going to compare, what it does more is that he's getting an extra 10% increased damage stealth buff if there's a burn, which is very good. And then also he gets an extra 45% lifesteal. Now my main problem with him was that he could not sustain himself, so being able to get this is very good. For the skill 2, it turned into an AoE. Before it was a main and adjacent, and now being an AoE is super strong. Main and adjacent skills are very bad because it only hits, let's say if you're hitting someone on the side, it's only going to hit the person on the side and the person either to the right or to the left. It's only hitting 2 people. And if it's 4 units in PvP, obviously you're only hitting 3. And then even on his skill 1, I'm pretty sure he got, no, it's the same thing. Never mind. Don't mind that. But as for his dupes, let me just make sure everything is the same. Everything does seem to be the same. So yeah, now it's mainly the skills making the ultimate have more lifesteal, which is a very strong effect, and then the skill 2 now being an AoE makes him way better for PvP and PvE. It's just very strong. I mean, you really can't complain about that. So that is one of the dupes, or one of the buffs that did happen a while ago. But the thing is, now that JP and Global are both getting the buffs for the new units, you have to like imagine that Leopold is also going to be buffed. So I just wanted to mention that. So we're going to do the changes. Now this is what I mean. We have been shown it inside the Discord server. Now this is wrong. It was just Efase messing up a bit, but it's supposed to be 14%. Now the level 5, as you can see, is the exact same as on the JP patch notes for tonight, which is when Global is coming out technically. So you can see at the start of a wave for 1 turn adds counterattack, which is the exact thing here. So I just wanted to kind of prove it to you guys that we will be getting these buffs, okay? So it's honestly really good. Right now, let's start getting into it. So overall, a lot of the units do stay the same. I mean, this is the PVE tier list. So we're going to start PVE tier list. And yeah, now we've got obviously our Red Charlotte being very good and Red Yami just excelling. And he's going to excel even more if you have him max duped, because he's going to be adding himself a counterattack every wave, which means if he's attacked, he's doing more damage. And if he's not attacked, then he's living, which makes him very good. And he just stays in S+ here, right? So that is very good to me. Now, the blue units stay, right? Of course, now for these tier lists, for PvE, it's mainly just how good a unit is for grinding or bosses in PvE content at their max potential, or just like at the maximum amount of potential, not exactly max duper with max skill page, but just the maximum amount of stuff that they could do, right? So that's basically how I see it. Now for S, right, we could move now, where is it? We could move Veto to S. So that's the person we're going to be moving up because of the fact that this guy gets buffed to an insane level. Now we go here and his skill 2, okay? So he has a single target skill 1 that applies damage lowering to the enemy who gets it, single target. Now the skill 2 is an AoE, and the way this works is that if his HP is less than a certain amount, less than 75%, so it got buffed by an extra 15%, he gets, oh, what did I do? He gets 15% extra lifesteal, which is a very strong effect. So he's getting extra lifesteal and at a higher percent. So he has to be lower than a higher percent now, which is good. Now, what's very strong about it is that for each defeated ally, he gets 35% increased damage dealt instead of 20. That's an extra max 45% damage dealt, and the base level starts at an extra 8%. So this is going to do more damage, lifesteal more, and yeah, this is very good. As just a tank who's able to tank very well, being able to do that is very good. Now, the ult is what is crazy. Just look at this. It goes from 150% attack to 225, an extra 75%, and it adds an extra 50% lifesteal. So that is very strong. Basically why Vettel is very good. He's going to be doing damage now and going to be lifestealing a bit more. Because you got to consider, he's lifestealing extra because not only is he doing more damage, but it's an extra amount. So this Vettel is going to be very strong, especially if the scalings on the... Let me go here because obviously Pride 1 is the GOAT. If the scalings go higher than this, then it's even better. So yeah, no. Vettel's very strong now. Well, he's a good option for global launch. Now, to be fair, he will come out about 2 weeks in, and he will be good for the most part now because he's a red tank who's going to do damage against the green units, Green Raya and Green Lich, who are kind of meta. So to me, that's very good, and that's why Vettel goes up to S. So now we could continue on. Fenrir stays. Asta does stay in PvE, right? Now this is the PvE part because of the fact that he's single target and still like he's not AoE, right? And Vettel having a better AoE too is nice. Now the greens still stay. Raya and Lich are both very good. Raya more so for bosses, but it's good. Now Nebra's only here against bosses, right? Then Fauna, probably one of the best grinders in the game, for sure. I would say so. You could argue S+ for her in grinding, but that's it. Blue Yami now, he is someone who I'm pretty sure move up. Let me just make sure that I'm seeing right. Yeah, so I decided to move Blue Yami up because of the fact that he's getting extra damage now. And his problem is definitely a bit of damage because he has low attack scalings, but getting an extra 5% on the Dupe 2 passive is great. And even better than that, what's really going to set him apart is that at the start of every turn at max dupe, he's going to be giving himself an extra SP, which means he's getting his ult twice as quick. So this Yami definitely moves up to here because he's going to be spamming his ult, spamming his single targets, and just doing good damage, right? Really good damage. And since William is also going to be a very strong unit, William buffs attack DPSs and Yami is an attack DPS and not a magic attack DPS. So that to me is very good. Now for PvE, the only other change is really Leopold to A. Now you could even argue S, you could, but I still feel like A is the way to go because of the fact that at the moment we're still in more of an attack era than a magic attack era. And the thing is, there's also some really good DPSs better than him, being Red Yami, and he's just not as good of an option. But for PvE, he's still decent and he could self-sustain, which is a very strong thing to be able to do. So he is like on the cusp of S tier, but is a very solid A tier option for the reasons I stated before. Having a bit more damage, having the AoE now, which is good, and having the extra lifesteal. Now Asta is just good for the taunts, and Sally did get buffed actually to where now she is doing an extra, she has extra speed, which is actually really good for PvP, which we'll get to that. And then Noelle, good barriers, Mimosa, good heals. Then the greens, you know, they're just decent. The greens, I feel like we do need Raya and Lich to really start getting good greens for sure. But what's it called? Rill has two very good debuffs that are AoE, right? Then Fuego has a very good AoE too on his skill 2 with good damage, and then Vanessa is able to defend well. And then these three for blue are very good: healer, DPS, and tank. And then yeah, so except for that, nothing really changed, so I'm not really going to talk about it. You could go to the original video if you want explanations on these units, but do you really want explanations on the bottom units? I don't really think you do. So yeah, we got some more A tier units, which is very good. And then Vettel got pushed up to S, so it's the same amount. And yeah, overall, not many changes, but we got Blue Yami in S, Red Vettel in S, and then Red Leopold in A. So yeah, some good red buffs, and that's especially good because Raya and Lich, when they come out, they're gonna reign. But then now Leopold and Vettel will have more of a place in the meta, especially Vettel, so that's good. Now this is the PvP tier list. Okay, we're gonna be changing it. We have some, I think, four things to change. Now for S+, surprisingly enough, now Red Yami is S+. He doesn't even need Blue William anymore, which makes him a very strong option because of the fact that now he applies counterattack at max dupes, which is very strong. And obviously he is a premium unit, sorry, not a premium unit, he is an unfeatured unit after his banner leave, so getting him up to max dupes over time will be very strong. And yeah, no, this is very good because he has an AoE skill 1, which is why a counterattack is so good, because obviously you counter with your skill 1, and him getting it first turn, the AoE, is super duper good. And it also, what it does let you do is play differently. You could play with William still, but instead increase Yami's attack so that Yami's still gonna get the counters, but even do more damage than he would before, which is very good. And then of course Asta is still reigning and even doing better because at max dupe he has status abnormality, which is a stun block, which is very good, right? In PvP, you gotta admit. Then blues, obviously these three just reign. And then as for the greens, very good. And Mimosa does get the buff of 5% increased damage reduced, which is good. Now for S rank, it looks a bit barren now, so this makes me happy to announce we are having these two moving up to S tier, which is something I wasn't expecting to be doing. But Sally, a speed buff in PvP is really strong. Okay, really strong. 2 speed could be the difference between life and death, especially when you consider who's at like 109 speed and stuff. If we look at it, it's a lot of DPSs, okay? And being able to be quicker than Red Asta is going to be very good without any dupes. So that is definitely something. And she's up there now. She is really up there. Those 2 speed is going to make her just attack quicker in general. So 2 speed is a W change. That's all she needed, right? Sally is a very good supporter. And now that Leopold's also better, at least she has someone on launch. Because afterwards, Lich comes out and then she's really good alongside Fauna, right? Because she increases all attack, crit rate, crit damage, and magic attack. Now, Leopold, obviously, he has an AoE now for burn, which is very good. And then his ult does more damage, and he's able to lifesteal. So him being able to self-sustain himself over double the amount he was before is what really lets me make him be in this rank, right? I think that it's very strong what he's doing, and they did a very good job with the buffs when he did come out. But I think it was more launch buffs that we needed, and obviously now we're on launch, so you know, that's good. Like if he came out on launch, it would have been much better. Or if these buffs came out with it on launch, like if he was the same with the kit now, he would have been much better, because he was not able to sustain himself, you know. That's just how it is. So yeah. And then Vettel moves up to A because he's still a defender, which means it's very situational still, but he's still going to be good, right? If everyone else dies, he's going to be great. And even if they don't die, he's going to be annoying to kill because he has over double the lifesteal now on his ult. Or wait, was it skill 2? Which one was it? Am I going crazy? Well, okay, technically he's lifestealing a lot more because he's doing way more damage. 225% is the highest level 1 scaling in the game, and it's usually, this is max level usually, and he's getting even a bit more on his stuff, on his levels, so it's great. So him being able to sustain himself more, the extra lifesteal, and being able to do it quicker, because when your HP is less than 75% instead of 60 is very good, and more damage per dead ally makes him to be in A rank now, which is interesting as hell that he's there. And as for the rest, they really don't change, right? I'd say that the rest is pretty good, but overall having these little placement changes is good, and I'm happy that we got these buffs, right? It's pretty good. This is PVE tier list, this is the PvP tier list, and let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I mean, if you want me to go over the other units a little bit, obviously because it's a tier list, well, I mean, in blue, they're still going to be like going crazy with Lotus and Mars, that's for sure. Now in S, the reason why Raya and Lich aren't up there is because you could just barrier, and then for the most part, they won't be that annoying. But obviously, Red Asta is able to destroy barriers, he's high speed, so that's why he's up there. And Red Yami now with the counters is a very strong mechanic to have turn 1, so that's why he's up there. And then obviously Leopold, why I decided to move him up is because of the fact, well, that he is going to be able to sustain himself against blue units a bit more. He has over double the lifesteal on his ult, which is very good. And now Vettel, I'm just happy that he's getting some love, because let's just say when he came out on JP, he was one of the most worthless units that ever came out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. If you got to this point, I do appreciate it. Now B rank is looking very barren with only 1 SSR for PvP being Jack. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. See you guys in the next one. Peace.